and we'd like to have the announcements, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available on the counter in the lobby of this conference room. The Planning Commission's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning or subdivision application and his or her representative to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the Commission may extend these times by a majority vote. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please write your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the lobby. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please sign in on that same sheet. The Planning Commission is interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available in the lobby. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct their own additional public hearings on these items.
Okay, we'd like to recognize Boy Scout Troop 707, who are here today working on their Citizenship Merit Badge. Would you please stand? We do not have any items today for the Board of Zoning Appeals, so we'll go right to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission agenda. First, we have a minutes from November 2nd.
Approved.
Second.
I need to abstain.
Yeah, we have a few. Let me see who. Josh, he's not here. Don, just the two of you. Okay. We have a motion by Mr. McKay, seconded by Ms. Miles. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And then we have the minutes from the 16th meeting of November.
Move to approve.
And then we have some abstentions there, I believe, of Dave Foster and Chuck Warren. Okay, any discussion? Who made the motion? Mr. Green? And who seconded it? Ms. Miles?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We will go to subdivision committee recommendations. Case number 2017-00048, a one-step final plat for Central Community Church. That was approved by the committee 7-0. Do we have anybody on the commission that'd like to hear that? Seeing none, do we have anybody in the audience who would like to hear it? And then we can take that by consent. subdivision 2017-00049, one-step final plat for the Hinckley addition. Anybody on the commission like to hear that one? It was also recommended 7-0. Seeing none, anybody in the audience? Seeing none, we'll take that by,
Move that we approve items 2-1 and 2-2.
Second.
Mr. Green made the motion, Mr. Klausmeyer seconded. Any discussion?
I'll have to abstain on the property next to it.
Which one? Which one?
-2.
Okay, so we'll take 2-1 first.
Right.
With the
So moved.
motion, okay. Mr. Klausmeyer. Okay, this is just for 2-1. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we'll take 2-2.
Moved.
Klausmeyer, yes, second. And Mr. McKay will be abstaining. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Then we go to our public hearing on vacation items. Vacation 2017-00045, city vacation of an unused platted utility easement on property zone SF5 single family. It was recommended to us 7-0. Anybody like to hear that one? Anybody in the audience? Okay, we can take that by consent. Item 217-00046, city vacation of street right-of-way to facilitate site development of property zone TF3 two-family. Anybody on the commission want to hear that one? It was also recommended to us 7-0. Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, you have a motion.
Move to approve.
Mr. Warren moved to approve 3-1, 3-2. Mr. Klausmeyer seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Public hearings. Number 4, case number 217-00040, a county conditional use to create a recreational vehicle park in an existing manufactured home park. Anybody on,
I need to abstain from this one.
okay, anybody like to hear this one on the commission? Seeing none, anybody in the audience want to hear this one? Seeing none? Okay, do we have a motion on,
Move.
Second.
okay, moved by Mr. McKay, seconded by Ms. Miles. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
We have a request on number 5, CUP 2017-00050 for deferral until January 4th. Do we have a motion on that? Oh, well, yeah, do we have anybody in the audience that want to speak on that one? Okay. Would you like to speak today, or would you be able to come back on January 4th? Would you be able to speak today, or would you come back? Okay. Anybody else? Okay,
Move the table to January 4th.
give Mr.
Second.
Okay. Who made the second? Mr. Warren made the motion, Mr. Johnson made the second. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it takes us to our last item. Zoning case 2017-00053. That's a city zone change from GO, General Office, to LC, Limited Commercial, to allow retail sales. Anybody in it? You'd like to hear it, David? Okay, we will hear it. Take it away. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dave Urett with planning staff. This is a request of the owner of the property at 5759 East Central to rezone the property from general office to light commercial. You can see the location of the property. Edgemore here and Central Street running east and west. The outline property here is what we're talking about. If you're familiar, Brookside Boulevard comes down right to the east of the property. There's an aerial that shows the location. There is an existing home on the corner that's been converted into a retail store, and we're talking about the one immediately to the east of that property. Location within the general plan shows it in the new employment area of the comprehensive plan. This is the property or the structure that we're talking about, one of many former residential structures in this section of Central that have been converted to commercial uses. This is looking directly south from Central. This is from the site looking to the northwest. You can see the commercial uses along Central, on the north side of Central. This is looking west along Central from the entrance to the property. This is a store that's immediately to the east. We're looking east along Central, looking northeast again across Central Avenue. So staff's recommending a denial of the application to LC as outlined in the staff report. This is an area that has been a policy for years that says no retail or LC on the south side of Central Street. There have been a number of properties that have had actions taken through the years. You can see some conditional uses to the east, also some POs that were put on properties, but the entire strip from four properties to the west all the way over to Hillcrest were rezoned general office in 1987. The policy of the city that said that's essentially what would be done. We're recommending, there have been some properties where NR zoning has been granted. Our recommendation is to grant NR zoning, which is allowed under the zoning regulations because it is more restrictive than the LC zoning. We provided you copies of the documentation going back to 1987 when these actions were taken. And as outlined in the staff report, the applicant had made a request and even was requesting and identified the uses that he would like to keep that would require LC zoning but would not be allowed in the NR zoning. So be happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions for staff? Mr. Stevens?
Dave, what would he gain with the NR?
A longer list of uses that are a lot more intensive. We're aware you have NR zoning on the north side of Central, but the big issues are going to be things like restaurants with drive-through, even some of the nightclub uses and other more intensive uses that would, in staff and the city's position would be something that would require a lot more space. You're talking a relatively small lot here. And the idea, I think, on the south side has been to limit them to more personal service and office uses that were consistent with the general office and now even some of the NR zoning.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, agent or applicant?
That's you.
I get it right today, Mr. Green? I said, did I get it right today?
Hi, I'm Daniel Mershon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I applied for LC because I thought that would be it would give me the most opportunity to get a renter and so forth in the area as
Sir, can we have your address? I'm sorry for interrupting.
5759 East Central,
Thank you.
this property, right here. And
Is that your residence?
no, this is just on my residence, 248 South Delrose.
Thank you.
Okay. So I used to live on the west side and now living on the east side. And one thing I did notice on the east side is there's development, but there's not much area to develop. There's a lot of area to develop on the west side. So with the economics pretty good on the east side, I saw this as an opportunity. But I thought LC would be the good thing to go with. Now, right now, it's this general office, which I really couldn't do much. I couldn't have retail, couldn't do personal care, couldn't do personal improvement. And I'd like to note, a lot of people aren't even acknowledging, that are along this list here, aren't even acknowledging it. They're running it as if it was.
We have a mouse there if you need to refer to something.
Oh, well, I'm just saying some of the places along here on the south side are not compliant with general office. I'm trying to be compliant. I've owned the property for only about 3-4 months now. But anyway, I thought LC would allow, I had requested the ability to have government service. It would actually be smaller, limited. If a government entity wanted to rent the place, I'd be happy with that for, or a university college, a college or animal care, a small pawn shop, small secondhand store, tattooing, tavern, small vocational, which are not allowed in neighborhood residential. So this, I think it's kind of this area is kind of a little bit different because I don't know how many cars go up and down Central, but it's one of the busiest arteries in the city. Yet we have limited commercial, we have industry on the north, but not opening to the south. I did notice living in the city over on Central and Kellogg, just north of Kellogg to the east, there is an area that a businessman, I think he bought about 4 or 5 lots and then it was granted LC. Is it that big of a deal for me for LC or NR maybe? But I think the future of the city, it would be if you have an opportunity here to give a precedent that it could be allowed LC on the south side. If I had an opportunity to purchase more properties there, then I could maybe have an opportunity to make more of a strip mall or something. But without being backed up by the city, probably wouldn't even try. I think other investors would be looking at that towards the future. Back in '87, they saw this and they made a change. That was 30 years ago. I'm asking for maybe a change for the future. I guess the question here is, for the future, is what do you want this to be 30 years from now? Do you want the possibility of LC on the south side, the possibility of growth, the possibility of more jobs, or do you want to limit it to NR? So I guess that's all I have to say on that, and thank you for your time.
I'd like to ask you one question. It seems that you made the statement that some of these on the south sides were not non-compliant. And the information I have is that we have a number of those that are NR with a protective overlay.
Okay, well,
We have no information that they're
I don't have any solid evidence on that, and no, I'm not trying to point fingers at others necessarily, but I do know this. I'll speak of myself and what I do know. This property here was used prior to this as a tailor shop, which was not compliant. Also, it was used as, I think they had a catering company there, and that was not compliant. And according to this, it was a hairstylist area, and that was not compliant. So we're talking 10, 20 years it hadn't been compliant. Since I bought this recently, I did my homework, came down here. realized it wasn't compliant, so wanted to try to get it compliant. So that is what I do know on this property.
Mr. Foster.
Sir, in looking at the staff report, it does make note that, and I'm certainly aware of some of those uses that may not look compliant, but it does mention some of those have been approved per a conditional use process. So I think that explains, and
Okay.
also the explanation from the chairman as well. And I went back and looked at the NR zoning. Have you looked at the list that the neighborhood retail that would allow you to expand? For example, one struck me as personal care service would be allowed with the neighborhood
Yes, I think-
retail.
I do think I'm aware NR and LC is probably 80% of LC, and I think it's pretty good. I would sure appreciate to have NR. Definitely GO would not be enough. I'd have to, people may come and want to rent the property for some type of business, and I just have to turn them down unless they wanted to just use it for office.
Well, you could also consider the conditional use process to go above and beyond the NR.
I did,
zoning.
I did consider that, but then I would have to come down here and do this meeting every time, and it wouldn't, by that time, if I had somebody wanted to move in, they'd be gone by the time I went through the meeting process, 2-3 month process.
I would have the question in terms of approval here. Would you be willing to accept the NR zoning
I
at
would.
this time? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions to the applicant? Seeing none, we'll go out for public comment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience like to make a comment about this case? Anybody from Troop 706 like to make a comment? Okay. All right, we'll bring it back to the commission.
I move that we take the recommended action that the staff has so eloquently proposed to us.
I second that.
A motion by Mr. Green, a second by Ms. Miles. Any discussion, Mr. Foster?
I would offer a substitute motion. I think it's been pointed out to us, not only in the staff report, but by the applicant, that there are uses from the neighborhood retail zoning district that are already in place there. And so I think my substitute motion would be approval for the NR zoning on this property.
Which is what the recommended action is in the staff report, is to deny the LC and
okay.
approve the.
Then I would support the
NR.
motion.
Yeah.
So you would withdraw your substitute motion, Mr. Foster?
Right.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes 9-0. And we are adjourned, I believe. Is that